Morning, grade nines. We are back again. It's a good morning. It's a good morning. It's a great one, even. Happy New Week. I'm still your host, your teacher, Mr. Mbata, and I want to say to Buitoko Mjegejege Mbeje, Cleopatra, Gitsebile, Jansen, and Portia. I will be sending you scripts before the end of business today. I had a problem with my scanner, so I had to actually come up with new strategies as to how I will send those marks back to you. Then, without any waste of time, I'm thinking let us do corrections today, and we are doing these corrections, and then after the corrections, everybody who sent me their email address, immediately at the end of this lesson, I will be emailing the the memorandum. So as you all know, or as you are all aware, that we wrote a test on Friday, let us start doing the memorandum. They said to you, pure substance made up of only one type of atom that cannot be split up into substance, into simpler substance. So we all know that this will be your element. It's the element. We all know that element cannot be. What is Lee saying? Yes, Lee, you may talk. Lee? Where's Lee? Okay, you can open your mic and say something to me. Anybody? I see people are raising hands. Yes, morning.
May I please help you?
Oh, okay. No problem. Okay, let us work together. Pure substances formed by a chemical reaction between two or more different elements.
Diatomic.
No, that will be your
compound.
Yes. Compound. I saw you wrote the very same thing on your answer sheet, or wasn't you? Did you send Unkabiti or you didn't?
Yes, I sent.
Yes, I saw you wrote diatomic there. When I was marking your paper Friday. So the diatomic elements are elements or molecules that consist of two similar elements, ne? So they have the subscript 2 all the time when you write them. But this one,
yes,
when you see chemical reaction, there is no reaction for diatomic elements. So when you see a chemical reaction, we are talking about compounds. Let us move to C. A chemical process in which two or more substances react to form new substances.
I'm not sure, sir.
It's a chemical reaction or a chemical process. I'm going to email everybody this memorandum today. The common name for sodium chloride, what do we call sodium chloride? What is the common name for sodium chloride? Salt. Yes. It's salt. And then rapid chemical reaction with oxygen that produces heat and light.
Combustion.
It is combustion. It is indeed combustion. Then any questions, grade 9, for our first part of the test? I hope there are no questions. Let us move to F. Compound formed when a material reacts with oxygen.
Oxide.
Metal oxides. Metal oxides. If you are not following grade 9s, you have every right to actually open your mic and ask a question. Slow chemical reaction of ion with oxygen in the air in the presence of water. What is it called? Anybody?
Rust. Rust.
Yes, it says rusting. It's rusting. We say it's rusting. Number between 0 and 14 that tells us how acidic or basic water soluble substance is.
pH balance.
pH scale, yes. A chemical reaction in which an acid and a base react to produce salt and water.
Neutralization.
It is neutralization. Neutralization. A compound consisting of metal and a hydroxide. A compound consisting of a metal and a hydroxide, we call it a metal hydroxide. Are we clear, grade 9s? Unkabetsi,
Yes, sir.
are you clear?
Yes.
So those were the answers that were expected from you, and then you would get 10 out of 10. Remember, I told you that it is important for you to actually know the scientific terms. Sometimes you'll find these questions in your multiple choice, but then because of time, I did not include a multiple choice in our questions. Let us go to number 2, question 2. Then we have, they give you a compound name. Princess, yes, Princess? Princess? You need to open your mic, Princess. Do you have a question? Princess? Princess? Okay, she's not here. Let's continue, Nkabetsi. They said to you here, you are given a compound formula. You need to give us a compound name and elements. So we're gonna do that. So what is the compound name for number 1?
Potassium oxide.
It is potassium oxide. What are the elements that are forming potassium oxide?
It's potassium and oxygen.
Potassium and oxygen. MgS, what is the compound name?
Magnesium sulfate.
Magnesium sulfate. And the elements forming the compound?
Magnesium and sulfur.
Magnesium and?
Sulfur.
And sulfur, yes. How do you write sulfur? Is it Fu? And then sure. We've got LiCl.
Lithium chloride.
It is lithium chloride. And then the elements in the compound?
It's lithium and fluorine.
Yes. CaSO4.
Calcium sulfate.
Calcium sulfate. The elements that are forming up this compound?
It's calcium and sulfur.
Calcium and sulfur and what?
Oxygen.
And oxygen. And oxygen. This one, what is the compound name for NaCO3?
Sodium carbonate.
Sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate. And then what are the elements that are forming up this compound?
Sodium.
It's sodium,
Carbon.
carbon,
And oxygen.
and oxygen. Then you get your 10 marks there. That's what was expected of you to do in that section of question 2. Then we went on to question 2.2 now. You were to balance the equation only. That's why it was just 1 mark. You were only expected to balance the equation.
Yes.
So you were to calculate the elements from left on your left and on your right, and then you balance the equation. If you think the equation is balanced, it was still okay. So now I'm going to ask you, do you think A is balanced?
No, sir.
Is not balanced. So how am I going to balance it?
You're gonna put a coefficient 2.
A coefficient 2 and another coefficient 2 here. And then we have 2 sodium chlorides on the left and 2 sodium chloride, two sodiums on the left and 2 sodium on the right. 2 chlorine and 2 chlorine there for our what you call our
Equation. Copy.
hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So B and nitrogen reacting with hydrogen to give us ammonia, is the equation balanced?
No, sir.
So we have 2 nitrogens on the left and 1 on the right. So we're gonna put a coefficient what there? A coefficient 2. And then now we've got 2 nitrogens and 6 hydrogens. So we're gonna put a coefficient
Put a
3 here.
coefficient 3.
Yes.
Oh.
Then you can count your hydrogens on your left. There are 6 and 2 nitrogens. And then on the right, we've got 2 nitrogens and 6 hydrogens. And then our equation is balanced. That's what was expected of you on Friday. You've got lead hydroxide reacting with hydrochloric acid, a salt, which is what you call lead chloride and water. Is the equation balanced?
No, sir.
It is not balanced. So what you need to do, you need to go there and then you put a coefficient 2 here, and then you move right along, you put a coefficient 4 there, then you move right along, you put a coefficient 2 here, and then you move right along. We're doing corrections now. If you have any questions, you stop me, I explain to you. Then those were the coefficients you needed to put there to balance your elements or atoms in a reaction. Then you can calculate and see if you are following. Are you clear, grade 9? Anybody who wants to ask a question? So let us calculate the lead. Let's start with the lead first. You've got 2 on your left, and then you've got 2 on your right. How many chlorines do you have now? You have 4 on your left, on your right, I'm sorry. 2 coefficient 2 multiplied by subscript 2, you're getting 4. Then you come and say, okay, let me balance my chlorine on the left as well. You put a coefficient 4 there. That means now you have 4 hydrogens and then plus 2 hydrogens, that will be 6. Are we clear? And then plus 2, that will be 8. That's why we put that 4 there. We say 4, coefficient 4 multiplied by subscript 2, and then you've got 8. Then let us calculate our oxygens. We've got 4 oxygens on the right. How many do we have on the left? We have 4 as well. 2 multiplied by subscript 2 here, and then we have 4 oxygens. Can you see that our equation is balancing now? So now we've got phosphorus plus oxygen there. It gives us phosphorus oxide. And then phosphorus oxide, it is not balanced. How are we going to balance it, Unkabeti? Are you still there, Unkabeti?
Yes, sir.
Let us balance phosphorus plus oxygen to give us phosphorus oxide. How did you balance this one on Friday?
So for in front of oxygen, I put a coefficient 3.
A coefficient 3. Yes.
And then on the right hand side, I put a coefficient 2.
You put the coefficient 2, which is correct. Thank you very much. Which is correct. We're gonna calculate now our elements. Now we have 2 phosphorus on the left, and we've got 4 on the left and 4 on the right. 6 on the left and 6 on the right of oxygen. So we are balanced. Then the last one, lithium reacting with sulfuric acid to give us lithium sulfate plus hydrogen. So it's when a metal reacts with an acid to give us salt plus hydrogen. So we can see that it is not balanced. So where are we going to balance it? We only need to balance one side. We've got 2 hydrogens on the left and 2 hydrogens on the right. We've got 4.
So we're gonna balance.
Yeah.
So we're gonna balance the left hand side where there's lithium with the coefficient 2.
Thank you. You see why I gave a mark for this, because you are not supposed to work so much here. But don't worry, you are getting this memorandum today. Then you will see where you made the mistakes. So any questions with question 2, grade 9s, before we move to question 3? Any questions with this one? There are no questions. Everything is clear. Let us move to question 3. So in question 3 there, they said, write down the symbol equation and balance it for the following reaction. So you just need to write it down and then you balance it. Nothing serious, nothing more there. It's what we've been doing in class. So you were supposed to say, okay, sodium benzene oxygen. You already know that you're gonna have sodium benzene oxygen to give us sodium oxide. Right? I'm doing it now. You are not helping me, Gavit. So
I'll help you.
Is the equation balanced now?
No, sir.
How are we going to balance it?
Coefficient 2.
Where? On the right.
On the right, sodium.
So we have sodium oxide, but our sodiums are not balancing now. Then we come this side, we put another coefficient, right? Which is 2. Then we can now conclude that our
equation is balanced.
is balanced. Then I'm not doing this one. You need to do it for me. You'll just tell me what to type now. So we've got potassium that is burning in oxygen. How are we going to work with it?
It's K plus O2.
K reacting with oxygen, yes. What do we get?
KO.
Potassium oxide. Potassium oxide. So is it balanced?
No, sir.
How are we balancing it?
Coefficient 2.
Yeah, coefficient 2 there and there. Then we can say that it is balanced now. And then calcium burns in oxygen as well. Symbol for calcium?
Ca.
Reacting with oxygen to give us CaO.
Oh.
And then we say it is not balanced. Again, we need a coefficient here. So basically here we have the metal oxides. I'm not sure if you can see that. These are metal oxides. Metals are reacting with oxygens to give us metal oxides. And we have that. And then we've got zinc that is burning in oxygen. How are we going to represent it?
Zn plus O2.
That's with O2. And then we get
ZnO.
ZnO, which is a zinc oxide. And we're still repeating with our very same coefficient, right?
Coefficient 2.
I told you that it's very easy, man. If you don't know which coefficient to put, you just put it 2. Then you'll never go wrong. I'm kidding. You must always calculate your elements. Copper burns in oxygen as well. Getting an oxide.
Plus O2.
Cu plus
O2.
O2. What do we get?
CuO.
CuO. Still not balanced.
Coefficient 2.
Did you write this? I doubt.
I did.
Oh, so you got a total for this question?
Yes, sir.
I'm happy. But most of you who submitted passed my test, so I'm happy. Then, any questions, grade 9s, with question 3? Before we move to question 4, any questions concerning our test? We are doing corrections. That's the test we were writing on Friday, and most of you did not submit. Let us look at question 4. So acids and bases, it's still new in our brains. We know it very well. So they say apply your knowledge of naming compounds to name the following substances. H2SO4, what is it? What is H2SO4? It's an acid. What is it? What type of an acid is H2SO4, grade 9s? Anyone else can assist in answering. Anybody? James?
Sir, is it sulfuric acid?
It is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. HNO3?
Nitric acid.
Nitric acid. CaCO3.
Calcium.
Carbon. Calcium carbonate. Thank you so much. Calcium carbonate. And then the next question said to identify or categorize these substances. Are they strong acids or strong bases? Are they weak or weak base or weak strong base? So milk, is milk a strong base or a weak acid or a strong acid? What is it?
It's a weak base.
A weak acid. Weak acid because its pH is 6.
Oh,
So
thank you,
the
sir.
pH of milk is 6, so it's a weak acid. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Remember that from the pH scale, from 0 to 6, those are your acids. From 8 to 14, those are your bases. And then water is at what? Is at 7.
7.
It's 7, which is, it means it is neutral. So hydrochloric acid is the acid that is found in your stomach. Is it a weak base, a strong base, a weak acid, or a strong acid?
Strong acid.
It's a strong acid. It's a strong acid. That's why anything that you eat can actually be broken down into smaller pieces and it is absorbed by your body. If you remember your first term work, we did this. A vinegar, is it a strong acid or weak acid?
Weak acid.
It is a weak acid. A weak acid. Oven cleaner, is it a strong base, a weak base?
A strong base.
It is a strong base. Strong base. And orange?
It's a weak acid.
Yes, it is a weak acid, orange. And then orange, you've just agreed that it is a weak acid. The last question, grade 9. They said to you, write down balanced symbol equation for the following reactions: magnesium hydrochloric magnesium hydroxide reacting with nitric acid to give us magnesium nitrate plus water. So any questions before we go? Magnesium hydroxide.
Mg in brackets OH and 2.
So it's MgOH subscript 2 reacting with nitric acid. So our nitric
NO3.
HNO3. And then what do we get? We get magnesium nitrate, right?
Yes, sir.
Plus
Water. H2O.
and then is our equation balanced?
No, sir.
So where do we balance it? Let's calculate first. Okay, this is not magnesium. So we've got a magnesium on the left and a magnesium on the right. We've got 2 hydrogens and 3 there. So they are not balancing our hydrogens, right?
Yes.
So how are we going to do it? We're gonna say, okay, if we want them to, how many hydrogens do we have now? On the left, on the right, we've got 4, and then on the left, we have 2. If we put a subscript 2 here, how are we going to do it? We've got 2 and 4. So our hydrogens are now balancing, right?
Yes, sir.
So everything else balances. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let me put red so that people will see that we balanced where. We balanced there and there. Our hydrogens were not balancing, so they're now balancing. And then everything else balances. You have sodium carbonate reacting with nitric acid to give us sodium nitrate plus water and carbon dioxide. So now, sodium carbonate, how do we represent sodium carbonate?
NaC. NaCO.
Yeah.
Plus HNO3.
What do we get?
We get NaN. I'm not sure about the first one, but I know there is carbon and
Carbon.
oxygen. Yes.
Carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Right? See, carbon dioxide plus water. And then is it balanced? No, it is not balanced. Looking at our sodiums on the right, on the left we had 2, now on the right we have 1. So let us see if everything is going to balance if we add a coefficient 2 here for our sodiums. Coefficient 2. So we've got 2 sodiums on the left and 2 on the right, and then we have 6 this one. So it is not going to, not balancing, you see? Is it balancing? Let's calculate.
No.
We have,
it's not balancing.
So let us balance it. So now we have 6 NO3, so that means here we'll need another 2 here. And then we have 2 hydrogen, so everything is balancing now. Are you aware?
So what about carbon dioxide?
Let me see.
Because on the left we have 3, and then on the right we have 2.
So they are not balancing, you see?
Yes.
So now, how many do we have on the? We have 6 on the left, so that means we're gonna come back here and put a 2 here.
Sir,
Yes? I'm listening. So let's calculate our sodiums again. We've got 4 on the left, and then now we have 2 on the right. They are not balancing. Can you see that?
Yes.
Let us balance. Let me see, what did we do wrong here? Let me start afresh.
Sir.
Yes.
So there's 3 oxygens on the left side, and then on the right side we already have 2 by carbon dioxide and 1 by H2O. So isn't that fine?
It is. That's what I'm seeing as well. So yeah, it is balancing now. Thank you very much. Can you see what she did there? Nkabetsi?
No,
Oh, she's
sir.
cool. Let's calculate. We've got, let's just look at sodium. We've got 2 sodiums on the left and 2 sodiums on the right. Right?
Yes.
And then and then with carbon, we've got 1 here and 1 on the right. And
Yes,
then the
sir.
oxygens, we have 3, which is 6, right?
Yes.
Are you follow my cursor there? We've got 3.
Oh,
and
so now I understand.
thank you very much. This one, you were not considering this oxygen here. So now
Yes, sir.
once you consider that one, everything needs to be very well. Thank you so much. And then let us look at zinc and sulfuric acid to give us zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. How do we represent that one?
Zn
Zn
plus H2SO4.
and then what do we get?
ZnS
Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
And that one is balanced. It is balanced. We don't need to add or to. Then let us look at the last part of our. They said to you, write a word equation for the following reactions. So here you are not balancing, you're not doing anything. You just had to write word equation. So Cu plus 2HNO3, and then what do we get there?
Copper plus nitric acid.
Copper. How do you write copper?
With the O.
With nitric acid. It gives us copper nitrate. Copper nitrate. And
Hydrogen.
hydrogen. You're getting your full marks there. KOH plus H2SO4 to give us K2SO4 plus H2O.
Potassium hydroxide.
And sulfuric acid to give us potassium sulfate and water. Any questions, grade 9? Any questions? Do you have questions, grade 9? If you do not have, let's continue. Please jot down your homework, or else make sure that you are one of those who submitted their email address so that you will get these slides immediately after this. That is our homework. I will be emailing these slides immediately after this. And then please define those terms for you to be familiar with our topic for tomorrow. And I hope that you will have the great afternoon and take care, as I am now signing out. I hope if you've got any questions, remember that you can DM me on Instagram. It is at XKIM, or Twitter at Mbata X. If you've got any questions, please do so. I see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye. I got that email address. I will also forward Hoshia